We are back and welcome to this particular segment as we are heading straight that's to the press review and see what's making headlines stats into the print media. As always, I have quite two types here, and I'm going to start with the New Vision. And now we see in the New Vision that industrial parks created, the created industrial parks will create jobs for science graduates. Very, very interesting. The industry state minister David Bahati said students pursuing science courses at university are likely that's to be absorbed by the many industries being set up in the various parts of the country. He said the government was making deliberate efforts that's to set up more industrial and business parks in the various regions in the country for mainly value addition and import substitution. Now, talking about value addition, now it comes back to the agriculture side, and of course, this will be very beneficial in terms of improving Uganda's competitiveness on the world market in terms of supply of goods, and this will also reduce on the expatriate, of course, reliance in terms of value addition. So that will be of a great economic benefit. There is an economic cost that will be coming along, and also this is a window for the innovators right there to exploit their opportunities with these industries. And this will be something very, very beneficial to the growth of this country and also creation of employment to those into, most especially the science sector. So remember, we are into the global revolution regarding technology and of course IT related. So whatever comes up as an opportunity, it's something that as a student, wherever you are, you should really consider that. We see parks to create jobs for science graduates in Uganda here. So that is very, very, influential. All right, still in the New Vision, over 500 motorcycles impounded in traffic police crackdown. Police crackdown on all city border borders without reflector jackets, helmets, those carrying more than one passenger or operating without third-party license, third-party issuance, and driving license in Kampala were kicked off. That was yesterday. And of course, quite a lot of reasons why these people, the people in this particular industry, have been told to totally vacate the city. It comes with so many reasons, and one of them is the aspect of reflector jackets. There is a video that was released by police that's in the month of October. We are in November, but the previous month, and it was showing quite a number of accidents which are being caused by the border personnel being responsible for these accidents, and there were quite so many, and these involved quite a number of dates. So that is something that the industry players actually were urged by the responsible stakeholders to ensure that they themselves participate into the security of this particular industry, not just waiting for police to enforce laws regarding their peace and their stay in the country. And of course, quite lots of campaigns, lots of fellowships have been put in place to ensure that these people are actually educated regarding how best they can conduct the industry. But there has been a turn-up, though some have not really turned up as efficient, but definitely these were meant to professionalize their job to ensure that they reduce the risks and so many other, of course, disadvantages associated with their job. All right. Still here we see schools ordered to implement management systems. Schools have 1 month that's to implement the education management information system or risk-facing punitive measures. And of course, in a letter to all heads of academic institutions, the Education Ministry has warned that there would be no extension that's of the December 9 deadline for both government and private schools to comply. So 9th December is the deadline for the schools to comply regarding registration. And this time around, we are looking at the information system or the education, the system information management. And this is something to do with the electronic, some sort of internet. And of course, where you gather data of the different students, and you will be in position to make the appropriate decisions. All right. We see Uganda to launch second satellite soon. Yes, that is something also which is anticipated, the second satellite very soon. Very good news to the country Uganda. Like, of course, we did the story in our news breakup, seeing the launch of a satellite and putting Uganda at a certain level regarding space exploration. And definitely there are quite enormous benefits that the satellite will have to this country. All right, Kampala City Council Authority takes charge of Wandegeya Market. There has been drama at Wandegeya Market in Kampala. That was yesterday when angry vendors stormed the office of the interim committee members and locked it, forcing the police, forcing the office bearers to flee into hiding. Of course, a group of mercenaries later allegedly working for the interim committee tried to forcefully take over the office, but withdrew after the angry vendors organized to attack them. So those are quite disputes in the market that's in Wandegeya, and definitely we hope that they should be dealt with in due time. And of course, measures are being put in place to ensure that they are sorted regarding that. All right, still looking into the new vision. And of course, I think we've come to the end. It's exactly 37 minutes past the hour of 7. I still have a few minutes before we head to the international news. All right. Now, heading to the Daily Monitor here, we see developing nations blame the West, blame West for natural disasters. Uganda has joined other African countries, of course, in calling on the developed world to commit to funding loss and damage from the climate disasters. The loss and damage debate, which is expected to take center stage, that's at the United Nations Climate Conference, has pitted the developing world against the rich. Of course, the rich nations, with the former demanding that the latter pay compensation that's to vulnerable countries hit by climate disasters such as drought and flooding. So that is right there for you regarding that particular aspect. Of course, developing nations are blaming the West for the natural disasters. Probably some of the economic activities that are carried out in these particular countries, there is a way it impacts the climate. And remember, since we are on the, of course, the waves, that push all these particular climate-related changes, and they come back to the continent of Africa. So definitely that could have a certain display. Maybe they could have a point that way, but of course we need to really delve deep to be sure of what they say. All right, we see still in the Daily Monitor as Cabinet agrees to close that schools early. Cabinet has backed a proposal by the Minister of Health, that's Dr. Ruth Acheng, to close schools early for third-term holidays and, of course, to contain Ebola outbreak. Yeah, that's regarding that particular aspect. All right, still in the Daily Monitor, we see, of course, following the launch of the satellite, and this time around we are looking at how the satellite will benefit that's Ugandans. Quite more has been laid out there as we are looking towards that journey of Uganda joining the rest of the world to come into the space exploration world. As we see, the government has said the country satellite, which was launched, of course, by the American Space Agency yesterday, will improve the accuracy of weather and disaster prediction, and of course, looking at also mineral mapping and disease and border monitoring in Uganda. So you can see quite enormous benefits that are anticipated right there as a result of this launch. And definitely more of these will be coming up, and it will be very beneficial to the country's growth and development. All right, it's exactly 41 minutes. That's past the hour of 7 a.m. and at this particular time, let's head straight to the international news. All right, now looking at the international news, we start with Twitter. And of course, it's been making headlines in the world of business quite all over for 2 weeks now, I'll say that. And of course, we see that when Elon Musk took over this particular company, we saw that some of the workers were actually laid off. But now reports come up and say that Twitter asks some laid-off workers to come back. After Twitter Incorporation laid off roughly half of its staff, that was on Friday, following Elon Musk's $44 billion acquisition, the company is now reaching out to dozens of employees who lost their jobs and asking them to return. That's according to the report. Of course, some of those who are being asked to return were laid off by mistake. That's what, according to the sources here. Imagine somebody tells you, your boss tells you, I laid you off by mistake. So that's what is happening here. Others were let go before management released that their work experience may be necessary. That's to build the new features Musk envisions. And of course, the report said, citing people familiar with the moves regarding that. So some were fired simply because they hadn't yet really examined their expertise and of course their experience to ensure that what actually they need is beneficial to Twitter, and of course looking at what Elon Musk had envisioned after taking over this company. Twitter recently laid off 50% of its employees, of course including employees on the trust and safety team. The company's head of safety and integrity, that's Yoel Ruth, said in a tweet that was earlier this week, that was yesterday. Tweets by staff of the social media company said teams responsible for communications, content curation, human rights, and machine learning ethics were among those gutted, as were some product and engineering teams. Okay, still on this particular report, Twitter on Saturday updated its app that's in Apple's App Store, of course, to begin charging $8 for a sought-after blue check verification marks. Of course, in Elon Musk's major revision of the social media platform. Twitter did not immediately respond, of course, for these to the comments regarding this. When the reports came up and they were laid to the Twitter, to Elon Musk, there was quite a delay in regarding to the response to this particular aspect. But now you can see the workers that were laid off are now being called back, of course, due to various reasons. Definitely some of them have the vision that the company needs, and according to what Elon Musk was envisioning for this company. That's regarding that particular report. All right, now away from Twitter, we come back to East Africa, and we are looking at Kenya, as Kenya scores big in a bid to raise taxes that's on global farms. Okay, Kenya has reported a major breakthrough on the ongoing talks to secure a favorable revenue sharing deal with a club of rich countries over the contention's global maximum tax rate on multinationals ahead of the January 1st, 2024 enforcement date. A top official at the Kenya Revenue Authority told the Business Daily that there has been a significant development in the talks with the Paris-based Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development that's on rules to tax profits of the world's largest global firms, but did not disclose specifics on the deal that they have hammered 2 months to the deadline. Of course, he says that we have achieved a lot with the discussions we are having with this particular, with the economic cooperation development and even key member states, which includes the United States. And of course, a lot has changed and discussion is still going. Maurice Ray, that's KRA's Deputy Commissioner for Corporate Policy, told, of course, the press. Remember, such tax policies are coming hand in hand following the Biden global taxation plan. Definitely, we shall be looking at that sometime to come. It has a sudden effect. It's impacting, of course, the rest of the world. And of course, we shall not rule out the countries in the East African region, where as a nation, Uganda, we operate. All right, the deal seeks to introduce a global minimum corporate tax of 15%. That's to end what has been dubbed a race to the bottom, where multinationals channel profits through low tax, of course, jurisdictions. Some 135 countries have endorsed the tax pact aimed at ensuring the world's largest companies pay their dues on profits that's made in jurisdictions where they have little or no fiscal presence, but derive substantial revenues. Countries such as Kenya, countries such as Kenya and Nigeria are nonetheless fearful, of course, that reforms that in the international tax system are unlikely, of course, to reflect their interests in taxing the giants, especially the behemoths. Okay, Nairobi has, for instance, been reluctant that's to sign the OECD deal on grounds that it could end up eroding projected revenue from foreign tech giants. That's through digital services, of course, digital services tax, which we know as the DST. That's if the global revenue sharing formula does not protect its current winners. Of course, in a statement here says by one of the officials that the fear we have is that we already have a framework for the taxation of the multinationals, particularly for the digital economy. So if we were to move that's from our current position, that's to another position, we must understand what the implications are. Okay, Kenya charges multinationals such as Amazon, Netflix, Twitter, and PayPal, which derive revenue from Kenya without physical presence, a digital tax at the rate of 1.5% of the value of their transactions. Something very remarkable right here, as we see some, for example, what we've just seen of Amazon, Netflix, and Twitter, PayPal. These are companies that are operating within the country, but they're not really paying any tax regarding that, like in this nation. And you find that these companies are making quite lots and lots of profits, and which profits are being repatriated. So with these new policies, this will involve the taxation of such companies. Like I told you, this delves also into the aspect of Biden's global taxation plan. And now it's something of great benefit, mutual benefits amongst the countries in the different economies, to ensure that there is that mutual cooperation to ensure development. You can't operate in my country, but at the end of the day, you have to pay the taxes for us to why you operate in my country. So that's what is really transparent right there. And probably, if Kenya goes on with this initiative, it will have quite a great impact on the economy. All right, now we come to the end of the international news as we look at China. Now we're heading straight to Asia as China's trade shrinks as COVID curbs global slowdown. Of course, Chinese exports and imports unexpectedly contracted in October, the first simultaneous slap since May 2020, as a perfect storm of COVID, curbs at home, and global recession risks dented demand and further darkened the outlook. That's for the struggling economy. The bleak data highlights the challenge for policymakers in China as they press on with pandemic prevention measures and try to navigate try to navigate broad pressure from surging inflation and, of course, sweeping increases in worldwide interest rates and a global slowdown. Outbound shipments in October shrank 0.3% from a year earlier, and a sharp turnaround from 5.7% again in September. And of course, official data showed on Monday that, and as well as analysts' expectations for the 4.3% increase. And of course, it was the worst performance since May 2020. So we see the worst performance of the nation's economy looking at since 2020. The data suggests demand remains weak overall, and analysts warn that's so further gloom for exporters over the coming quarters, heaping more pressure on the country's manufacturing sector and the world's second biggest economy, grappling with persistent COVID-19 curbs and protracted property weakness. Okay, Chinese exporters weren't even able to capitalize on prolonged weakening in the yuan currency, that is since April, and the key year-end shopping season, underlining the broadening strains for consumers and the businesses worldwide. The yuan on Monday eased from more than 1 week high, that's against the dollar, of course reached in the previous session as the weak trade data and Beijing vow to continue, of course, with its strict zero COVID strategy hurt sentiment. The weak export growth likely reflects both poor external and as well as supply disruptions due to COVID outbreaks, of course, said Zhuhei Zhang, chief economist at Pinpoint Asset Management, citing COVID disruptions at the Foxfarm factory, a major apple supplier, as one example there. Okay, looking forward, in a statement made by the economists here, I say that they think exports will fall over the coming quarters, and of course they think that aggressive financial tightening and the drag on real incomes, that's from high inflation, will push the global economy into recession. That is next year, saying the economist. That's from Capital Economics. Capital Economics. Growth of auto exports in terms of volume also slowed sharply. That's at 60% a year from 106%. That is in September, according, of course, to the reports released. Calculations are based on customs data reflecting a transition from demand of goods and services in major economies. That is China out right there for you, performing its worst since May 2020, and of course something which has been attributed to the COVID-19. And definitely at this particular time we've come to the end of our international business report. It's exactly 53 minutes, that's past the hour of 7 a.m. and at this particular time we're heading straight to the business tips and quotes to inspire you as a business personnel, to ensure that you get to understand what your career is all about and how best can you go about succeeding into your business career. Let's get straight to the business tips and quotes, but firstly, let's review the business tip of the day. The business tip of the day says any discount is special deal. If you're giving a customer or a client discount, let them know. Let them know it. When you send the bill, be certain to indicate the regular price and then the voluntary discount you're giving them. That reminds them they are getting a special deal. That is something very remarkable. Clear as it is, inform the customers about the discounts. At the end of the day, it's to make them feel like they are cared about, they are loved, and trust me, they will be always loyal to your brand regardless of the times, regardless of how things might get. And surprisingly, with customers, when they get attached with a certain brand, sometimes the product may not be something they may really mind about. It may not be the best product, but just by the fact that you really show care, you even let them know the discount. That is something that you should put into consideration as an entrepreneur. It will be something, a driving milestone into your career of entrepreneurship. All right, now let's wind this up with a business quote of the day. We're now heading to the business quote of the day to see what says. Luck is a matter of preparation, a meeting opportunity. Of course, we've done this so quite a lot of times, and I believe if you're a new person that is viewing this, you are getting something from this particular aspect. Definitely the reason why we repeat some of these particular quotes, because we know on a daily basis there is a new person that is watching and they probably need this information. They need to know this knowledge. They need to comprehend it. Luck is a matter of opportunity. It's opportunity and preparation equals to luck. But luck in its own is not empty. It's not standing alone. So at any time, at any given time in your lifetime as an entrepreneur or as somebody pursuing your career, there are so many chances, there are so many times opportunities come our way, and probably they bypass us. And always the first thing we say is that I was unlucky. It wasn't yet my day. But at some incidents, I'll say yes and no. But 80%, a bigger percentage, you are not prepared. That's what it's all about. So that is something that you need to really understand. You're not prepared. It's not bad luck. It's not that it wasn't my time yet. Probably the last 10 opportunities you missed out were to be a life-changing experience on your side, but the only challenge was that you weren't prepared. How prepared are you to take on those opportunities? I speak this from experience. I've seen some of these things, and preparation is very key. Preparation is very key. Opportunity finds you when you're prepared. Definitely, it will come for you and you will get it. What about those people that take these opportunities? What's so unique about them? And you find that some are not even as good as we are in terms of the things that we are pursuing together. But simply because they are prepared, they have a plan, they know where to go, they know where to head. Definitely, they will take on the opportunity. All right, it's exactly 58 minutes past the hour of 7 a.m. and let's get into a short commercial break. Coffee Court, we shall be coming to the Coffee Court after the break. Stick around. Good morning.